Hello there and welcome to Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. Welcome to my home in Cyprus. And you can see from the title of this live just some of the things we've got coming up today. And I've been like a whirling dervish today. I literally sat here with about 3 seconds to spare. So forgive me. And I see the countdown didn't play today, surprisingly. So yeah, even less prepared than normal. But hey, let's begin today straight away with this. So I thought for today's story time, we might look at how it began, an item that I'm pretty sure most of you will be familiar with, and that is Tupperware. Now, when I was little, I was sure my mother used to call it Tupperware, but it's Tupperware, and I didn't learn that till I was an adult, that it was called Tupperware. So let me tell you the history of Tupperware. If anyone doesn't know what it is, it's basically a company that developed plastic containers with lids. I'm sure you've all got plastic storage containers in your kitchen, but that's what it was. And in those days, you didn't go and buy for back to school plastic containers specifically for your lunch. You would possibly take a Tupperware tub with you, and they came in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but they had lids on that you had to burp. Is that a phrase that you all use? You burp. You had to kind of push the lid on, but then you had to peel it back a tiny bit to let the air out and then shut the lid. Does anyone remember that? So this is the history of Tupperware. And it says, Silas Tupper came from a poor family in Berlin, New Hampshire, USA. He worked for a large DuPont chemical company who were experimenting with plastics before the Second World War. He was also interested in experimenting with this new substance, but as he could not buy it, he asked his bosses to sell him some of the leftover material. What they let him have was a chunk of polythene slag, a waste product of the oil refining process. It was black, rock hard, putrid, and almost impossible to work with. However, he was not to be put off, and he developed a refining process to purify the slag and an injection molding machine to make his new products. Not only did he find a practical way to make a new plastic that was tough, lightweight, flexible, and non-breakable, but he also developed a practical application that took advantage of its characteristics. He saw his unbreakable food storage containers, plates, cups, and bowls with their special qualities as a boon to busy mothers. So innovative were they that the American Museum of Modern Art has 15 of the earliest designs in its permanent collection. It took him a little longer to invent the virtually airtight and liquid-tight Tupperware seal. He modelled it on the lid of a tin of paint, only in reverse. That's interesting. In 1938, he founded the Tupperware Plastics Company, and in 1942 bought his first manufacturing plant, a factory in Farmersville, Massachusetts. In 1945, he introduced Tupper Plastics brand products to the American consumer in hardware and department stores. They were displayed and often stayed on store shelves because no one could work out how to operate the seal. Sales took off after some direct sellers had demonstrated them. Tupper recognised this power of direct selling as sales rocketed, and in 1951 he took all his products off of shelf stores. One of those first direct sellers was Brownie Wise, and Tupper hired her to create the direct selling system for Tupperware. She knew how to put fun into the home party and also how to make a career exciting and enjoyable. It was Brownie who invented the sales promotions, contests, and party games, not forgetting the support, training, and recognition so necessary to motivate staff. This was a new way of work for many, where they could choose to work as much or as little as they wanted. In 1960, this new concept was introduced into Great Britain. In the United Kingdom and Ireland, there now are 10,000 demonstrators, giving a total of 5,000 parties a week. In 1989, more than 88 million people attended a Tupperware party. And there are now dealers in 43 countries. Worldwide, a Tupperware party starts every 2.7 seconds. Wow, that is pretty amazing, is it not? Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So that was the first home parties, what do you call them where you live, but where women and men, but in those days it was a way women could make income and still be home for their children. So that was the first version of that. Do you own any Tupperware now? And I believe they started to bring colours in as well for those. So let me know about that in the comments under this live. And while I have a quick drink, let's do Friday's current quote corner. Okay, moving on to our next topic of today. Okay, today's quiz, we're going to do rivers. So the first question is, what letter R is precipitation? I'm sure you know this. What letter R is a word meaning precipitation? The second question, I'll do all the answers after I've done all the questions. Next question is, what kind of lakes are created by ice sheets? What kind of lakes are created by ice sheets? Question 3. What is formed when a river floods shallow lakes or ponds? What is formed when a river floods shallow lakes or ponds? I'm sure you know this one, whether you can bring it to mind. The next question is, do tributaries increase or decrease the water volume? The next question, what happens to evaporated water? What happens to evaporated water? The next question, what other name is used for an estuary? What other name is used for an estuary? The next question, headwaters are the top of a waterfall, true or false? Headwaters are the top of a waterfall, true or false? The next question, what prevents water seepage in a marshland? Ooh. What prevents water seepage in a marshland? Because or else it'd all be gone, wouldn't it? And there wouldn't be a marsh. And the last question for today, what forms at the top of a waterfall? What form? Oh, sorry. Did I say the top? I meant the bottom. What forms at the bottom of a waterfall? What forms at the bottom of a waterfall? And let's go through the answers. And the first question was, what letter R is a word for precipitation? I'm sure you know this one. Of course, the answer is rain. The next question, what kind of lakes are created by ice sheets? What kind of lakes are created by ice sheets? And the answer is freshwater lakes. The next question is, what is formed when a river floods shallow lakes or ponds? And the answer is a marsh or marshes. The next question, do tributaries increase or decrease the water volume of a river? And the answer is, of course, increase. The next question was, what happens to evaporated water? And of course, it condenses to form clouds. The next question is, what other name is used for an estuary? And of course, that is a harbour. The next question was, headwaters are the top of a waterfall. Is that true or is that false? Well, that is false. The next question is, what prevents water seepage into a marshland? And the answer is granite, slate, or quartz beneath. For each one of those three you said, get a point. So you could have 3 points there. And the last question is, what forms at the bottom of a waterfall? And that is a plunge pool. How did you do? Did you know more about rivers than you thought you knew? Who knows? Okay, let's go on to this. And today's question of the day is, what superpower would you most like to have and least like to have? Ooh, so it's a double question there. I'm not sure if it counts as a superpower. I guess it does. I would like to travel, not so much time travel, although I guess it comes up. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. I always get hiccups on my life. I would like to travel from here to here, wherever it is, whether it be hundreds of miles away instantly. So I guess that is a form of time travel, but it's not, because I would like to do it instantly. So I wouldn't have traveled in time. I would just be super quick. And I don't know if any of you watching are from England. And in the 70s, there was a children's television program, science fiction, and it was called The Tomorrow People. And they used to have a thick belt, and they would put their thumbs in, hold their belt, and it was called a jaunting belt. And they could basically do that, just go from where they were to some other place instantly. So maybe I'd just like a jaunting belt. If any of you can make me a jaunting belt, then that would be appreciated. So yeah, I guess that is a superpower, because maybe I've got the power to do that. What is yours? Tell me in the comments under this live, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? That is mine for sure, because then I could travel. I could travel again, which I can't do anymore. What would I least like? That's hard. Maybe, obviously, bad things. So to cause fire. Why would you need that as a superpower, to like make fire? There's not a lot of practical use to that you can't do manually in the same amount of time. So really, any bad superpower, anything that causes harm. I wouldn't like anything that does that. But if I've got to pick one, let's pick the fire, shooting fire or flames or something like that. Anything that's destructive, causes destruction. So that's me. That's a hard one, because it's more or less anything you can think of. But yeah, anything that causes harm or destruction. So as I say, if I've got to pick one, let's say creating fire. That I can't see really much purpose for that, really. I can light my own fire. So yeah, not that. So as I say, let me know in the comments what your answers are. That would be really interesting. So your superpower you would love to have, and what superpower you most definitely would want. Okay, let's move on to this. Okay, I've been asked for more recipes. I have got recipes more coming up on this channel soon. I have got a recipe playlist on this channel, and also a different recipe playlist on my other channel, which is New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. So click on that and go on playlist, and you'll find recipes. So I thought I would show you today some sauce recipes, because as you know, I make mostly all my own food, and the thing I feel I always need with my food to help me digest is sauces. I'm not very good with just dry food. So I looked at all the things I grew and tried to make my own sauces. Now, I no longer have a liquidizer. I no longer have that. You'll see a long time ago about that. So that's something I really, really have on my personal wish list, that I can't see a time when I will be able to afford something like that. I was looking at a soup maker one that you could also use as a liquidizer, but because we're off grid here, the amount of time you turn them on and the power, is it the watts? The watts, is it? That's the issue. I couldn't have run them on my solar panels, so I can't buy a soup maker, but I'm sure I can find a liquidizer. I want to do like smoothies, make sauces, make soup, so I want liquid, hence a liquidizer. And I don't want really a small kind of like this. I don't want one like this. I want something I can make batches up with. So I try and make sauces at the moment, I've got like a food processor, but the smallest that makes food into is mush. So my sauces aren't ruddy sauces. They just make mush is the smallest I can make on my food processor, but I use that for many other things such as chopping, slicing, grating. So that's great. I do that with my vegetables. I tend to do that first with them when I pick them from the garden and freeze them because they take up less room. So that's something I use that for. But yes, I wanted to make sauces. So there is a whole series on my other channel of sauces. So that's in the recipe playlist, but there is a whole series on sauces. If I make it, it's easy, simple, few ingredients, and takes very little time. So I thought today I would share that with you so you can have a look if you're interested. I think this is episode number 4 of the sauces. So take a look at this and I'll see you on the other side. Here at the Olive Farm Retreat Cyprus, we grow olives which we make into our own olive oil. We grow quite a lot of our own fruit and vegetables. I try to make recipes using mostly the things I grow. We do buy a few basic things such as pasta or rice to cook with the vegetables. I've decided to make a series now called 50 Ways to Use Zucchini and Other Homegrown Ingredients with No or Very Little Bought Items. This is part of our frugal living lifestyle, trying not to buy and trying to make as much as we can out of it. I'm going to start this series making sauces which will add to my other recipes. Look out for other recipes too, using a few more basic larder ingredients. So sit back and enjoy these recipe series. I just realised my mic was muted because I was doing something else then. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, I have to remember what I said then because my mic was off. Yes, so as I say, you can either run this back and take notes, or as I said before, you can see these recipes on my other channel, on my playlist, on my other channel, and I'll just run the ticker tape of that for you, so you've got that there. You can go on the playlist of recipes on that channel and you will find all my sauces recipes. So do look at those and do go over and check out my other channel. The recipes are different on both channels. It's because I wasn't sure which channel to put them on. So we've got different sorts of recipes on both channels. And you did, of course, there see my poor liquidizer before it completely stopped working. It was leaking. Now, it was from my grandma when I had my very first own home in England, so you know how long it's been lasting for, and couldn't repair it, the leak, and it was very old. She had it was hers for a long time, many years. So as I say, I then got a food processor with some funds, donations from some of you viewers out there. Thank you for that. And I got a food processor, but as I say, I now need some sort of liquidizer so I can make healthy smoothies, sauces. That's the main thing, sauces and soups. But as I say, I can't have a soup maker because I've looked into them and the power is beyond here. Oh, and that's something I wanted to say. I said about this on my other channel in this week's live. People say you can't get a normal kettle if you're off grid. Now, I understand it is hard. You don't need a camping one. In fact, some of the camping ones are too powerful for off-grid living, but I have got one and I am going to put it in a video on my other channel to show you it so you can look it up and see if you can get it. These days, I'm pretty sure you can get any brand anywhere, unless you're like me and you can't have things coming from other countries. We have never, ever ordered anything electrical online at all. So, yes, you can get a normal kettle. In fact, it's bigger than our kettle we had that's just broken. And it was, oh, gosh, it was really cheap. I got it here because I'm going to put the information in the video. Here it is. Kettle. It's Bomma, B-O-M-A. Bomma is the thing. It's glass, but obviously it's special glass. The code number is BM0605. It's 2 litres and it's €9.90. So you'll have to work out how much that was for you. €9.90. And so it's a full-size kettle. It's got the marks on the outside, whereas one that's not glass, you can't see how much you're putting in the kettle, so it's a waste. But yeah, if you want that info from me, do just ask. Okay, join us next week anyway. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to share this live if you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time. Check out my other channel. And I will see you next Friday on this channel. Or, of course, I will see you this channel next Friday. On my other channel, the lives are on Mondays and Wednesdays at slightly different time. So hope to see you there. And until next time, have a very happy, peaceful weekend.